Well, good evening, SSR group, and as you can tell, we're doing this at a dark, secluded place. Actually, we're doing this in my garage because we're talking about lanterns and lights and stuff, and some of these things I don't want to burn in the house for carbon monoxide. But what we're going to do is this is a one video series. It's on lighting, options that you can choose to light your way in your self-reliance. As you can tell, I wear a headlamp. I often wear this if I'm out camping and whatnot because I can focus it on the ground and I can see where I'm going, but it's not obtrusive and doesn't allow my hands not to be able to do. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to light up one of these lamps here and I'm going to ditch this light on my head and then we'll talk a little bit. Okay, so choices you have. You have lanterns from gas lanterns, propane, kerosene. This is a lamp oil and candles, and I'm going to light up this one here, which is this propane lantern. It's an itty bitty one that I happen to take. It's a pack style lantern and it works really, really well, as you'll tell momentarily. Voila, light. So turn this one off and we'll work with this little light for now. It's not a bright light, but it is a nice light if you're going to be camping, on top of a picnic table. Downside to the light is they do draw bugs, but if you're packing, this is probably about the same size as this pill bottle. This is the average large pill bottle that I have Strike Anywhere matches in, and that's the size of this lamp right here. It puts off a decent amount of light. That's all the way up, and you can turn it down as you need. Okay, and this runs off one of those itty bitty green propane cylinders. Okay, and you can use that for as long as you need to, as long as the lamp will light. Now, these green cylinders also operate the double mantles. Now, I have two double mantle lanterns here. Both of them are fueled by, the silver ones are a true dual fuel. Anything that Coleman makes that has a silver fuel tank is dual fuel. And what that means is it will use white gas. The white gas comes in a canister like this one here. That you can see it's also called camp fuel. And to be honest, it's roughly $9 a gallon. What I have found is a good source locally where I buy ethanol-free gasoline. And it's about $4 a gallon. And so I have 10 gallons of ethanol-free to run in my camp stoves, my camp lanterns, and any of the apparatus or tools that I use that require a mix, like my chainsaws, my weed eater, and the like. Okay, so this is a single mantle lantern. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move this over and I'm going to pull one of the other fuel lanterns over. Now this one here is a dual fuel, and I'll give you a little light so you can see it. It's going to throw some light here in a second. Wait, my son bought me a reflector off of this one, so we'll see how much light it pitches. This is a true dual fuel. It actually uses gasoline. It's my preference because honestly, in push come to shove, crap hit the fan, grid down environments where there is no electricity, if you have a siphon, you can pull the fuel out of your gas tank or someone else's if you have to. So as far as that goes. Fuel fillers on this side. This is a pump style lantern. Any of the fuel lanterns are pump style. And on the front is the gas control knob. Okay, so I'm going to light it here. Give me 1 second. You'll see once the mantles catch and start to glow white, you can turn it down, let the fuel. These lanterns they shouldn't blow gasoline up through the top, so you shouldn't have a flame like this. So you just wait. And then you can just start it back up again. And there. Now you see how it lights. Now I've used this particular lantern for a number of years camping, and it works really, really well. I have a dual mantle lantern like this that runs on propane, and I have a long wand. It's a screw together neck that fits on top of a 20-gallon or 20-pound propane tank. And I use that when I go camping. I set that lantern out at the corner of my camp with the tank, turn it on, and I let it suck all the bugs that direction. Okay. So, I like this reflector. It does seem to do a decent job. Now, when I say these things are run on mantles, there are these little green things that you have to tie on. And then you have to light them, turn them to a white ash. That's how that works. Now, one of the other options I've used, especially I did this past winter as a trial to see how well it would work, would be this kerosene style lantern. Now this one actually has a paraffin, it's a lamp oil, it's a type of paraffin wax, paraffin oil. And it lights right across the top. It's got a wick inside, like so. Put the glass on, and you have light. Now you have to watch, you burn this too high, and what you get is you get smoke. It'll smoke your glass, it'll smoke what they call a chimney, and it smokes it so that you can't see. And then you got soot in the air and whatnot. You can taper the type of the flame. This one has like it's got two almost like spines up. That's based on how the wick itself is cut. If it's rounded, the top of your flame will be round. If it's pointed, the top of your flame will be pointed. It's decorative in its own way. This takes a lamp oil. It also takes kerosene. Now, kerosene is one of the few fuels out there that you can purchase. Currently in my area, just outside of Pittsburgh, it's about $4.39 a gallon. But it doesn't require any type of stabilizer like gasoline does. Once it's in the container, it stays stable for a long time. Gasoline is only good for a couple of months unless you add a stabilizer like Stable. It's an additive you put to it. It keeps your gasoline fresh for a year. But what I found when I dumped out some of these lanterns is there's a lot of crud that comes off of varnish, and it's from the ethanols and all that kind of stuff in the gasoline. So I'm going to try to work my way away from the ethanol gasolines for my lanterns, and these I'll convert over to kerosene, which is permittable. This is a 3-candle candelabra. Now I'm not going to light the candles because I have so few of them right now. But this is like 3-candle power. It'd be good to read by. Comes with a hanger. You can hang it. There are tools and there are gadgets that you can hang off of trees or posts or whatnot. Okay. Now, one thing that everybody has in their house, make sure you have, is a flashlight. Now this is just one of those. It's a lantern flashlight. This one actually has LED lights in it. So as you can see, it can be very, very bright. And I'm not going to point it directly to the camera for that reason. But it works really, really well. And it doesn't burn the light out. We have this was from my basement. I have one of these lanterns in my bedroom right where we know where it is. So if the power does go out, I don't have to go fumbling through the night to try and find either a flashlight or a lamp or whatever. The flashlight is right there, and then I can go and set myself up. Now, one of the things I recently purchased, actually, let me frame back once. Before I go on, this lamp here, I bought at one of the local antique shops. And my wife and I, we do a lot of antiquing. Not that we buy a whole lot, but we're window shoppers. And I'll go through it. If there's something there that I can use for the purpose it was designed for, I use it. I bought 4 or 5 of these, about $12 a piece. Now, you can go in, they do sell them at Walmart. They're rather cheap as far as that goes. But you can get the chimneys and the whole gizmo, everything to use a lamp. But when you look on Facebook and people are selling these things and they want $40 and $50, realize that's a lot of money to spend. And if you're going to use it to light with, then you don't have to do that. $12, $15 is not a bad spend for an item of this kind. I used this last winter, just trialing it, because we get up at like 5 o'clock in the morning in my house because of the dogs, the way my work goes when I am working. And so I trialed this, and I would light my living room with this. And it was enough light to see. If you needed something, if you wanted to read, best way to do it, light 2 of them. And I would light it and I would burn it 2-3 hours. And I can get 5 or 7 days out of it depending on how long I burned it or how bright I burned it before I have to fill it again. So economically speaking, it's not a bad option. Now here, this one's actually made from a mason jar, a large mouth mason jar. And what I do is this piece here, the piece with the wick and the stems that hold the glass, you can buy those at Walmart. They're a couple of bucks a piece. And you drill a hole, you find a ring and a lid that's cruddy, you would never use it in your canner, and repurpose it. And what I'll do is, I saw the video on this, so I'll dig out the video, I'll find it, and I will post it in the bottom in the comments to this setting, or to this video, so that you can see how to make these. It's simple. All you need is a hand drill. I think it's like a 3/4 inch hole saw. It doesn't take much, but like I say, I'll dig out the video for this so that I can give it to you guys, so that if you have old jars laying around, you want to try this, it's one way to do it. Chimneys are a few bucks. There are other ones out there. There are kerosene lanterns. If you'll see them on Lehman's and that. Lehman's has what's known as an Aladdin. It's a beautiful lamp. It costs nearly $300. There's an antique shop near us, about an hour away. That's considered near in my mind. And I've seen 2 of those same lanterns with wall mount apparatus, so you can mount it on the wall. It's the lamp, it's the chimney and everything, and the wall mount for about $100. And so scrape up $100, I'm going to go up and I'm going to buy both of them because they're unique. And they use a similar mantle as one of these, so a little more fragile, but they throw a lot of light. It's called an Aladdin. Go ahead and look on Lehmans.com and you can see what the Aladdins look like. The last thing I'm going to do is this one here. This is it's called a Feuerhand. It is a kerosene lantern, a hurricane lantern as some people might know it. It looks a lot like a Dietz lantern, if anybody is familiar with that. The problem is you can buy brand new Dietz hurricane lanterns. They're bigger than this one. The thing is, they're not made in America anymore. They used to be made in New York, and if you go to an antique store and you see a Dietz lantern, look for where it says New York, New York. If it's not on there, the product is made in China, and it's a cheaper metal. This is a Feuerhand. It's made in Germany from German galvanized steel. This is a kerosene hurricane lantern, and they say that it will burn up to 12 to 16 hours on 1 tank of fuel, and I forget what the ounces are. I'll have to look it up and get it back to you because I did not do my homework, and I will apologize for that now. So let's go ahead and pop this one open and light it up. This is the first time I've lit this one, so. You never ever want a lot of wick sticking up because all it wants to do is smoke. And I'm going to turn this one, actually I'm going to blow it out. And I'm going to turn this one this way so we can see. Now, it does throw a fair amount of light, not a whole lot to cry about, but if you've got 2 or 3 of them, they work. The thing is, kerosene you can burn in your house. Now there is an additive you can add to the kerosene. It adds smell, vanilla, silver, pine, whatever. It also stabilizes it to the point that it doesn't burn as sooty as the ones without. Now this uses a K1 kerosene, and that's what you want to put in. You can buy K1 at Walmart, you can buy it at Rural King, you can buy it in 1-gallon containers, 5-gallon containers, and you'll spend anywhere between $8 and $25, $30, depending on the size container of the kerosene that you purchase. Let's turn this one down just a little bit so you can see. So it does toss a decent amount of light for such a little thing, and it's also one of the ones where you can hang this. You bring it up, it helps to hold. If you got it this high up, it's nice. Tempered glass, water hits it in the rain, it's not going to break. But like I was saying, sorry about the kerosene. I apologize for bouncing around. Kerosene, when you buy it in those forms, it's going to cost you a lot of money for a 1-gallon or 5-gallon. I buy 5 gallons for about I bought it when it was $1.99, so it was cheap then. At $4.38 a gallon, 5 times over is like $23. but I get K1 kerosene. I usually go to Sheets, or I find a gas station that's selling it. Now, kerosene is a byproduct of the making of gasoline. Gas prices will go up, so do kerosene prices. I still go with the kerosene because you don't want to burn propane in the house if you can help it, because of the CO2 issues. You don't want carbon monoxide. Have a good carbon monoxide detectors in your house anyway. For if you're using candles, if you're using wood stoves, you want a good carbon monoxide detector. They're only good for so many years. If you get past that like 2 or 3 year mark, pitch them, buy a new one, because you can't clean them out. They get the one with the battery backup, because they have the kind that plugs in, but if power goes out, no battery, you can die from carbon dioxide poisoning. We don't want that to happen. I would not use any of the gasoline lamps in the house, because they're dangerous. They put off too much carbon dioxide. I just wouldn't. Older homes, which are wispy and windy, they have draft, you're not gonna have a problem. My house is insulated with a spray foam, and no wind gets in. It's airtight almost. And you have to realize, in a tent, you won't even use these in a tent. They tell you keep them out of tents. No lanterns of this kind ever goes in a tent. You want a headlamp. They make hanging tent lights that are LED, that are $15, $16, well worth the money spent. But kerosene you can use in a house. Kerosene heaters you can use in a house. I have a large kerosene heater back in the corner here. You're not going to be able to see it, but it'll come up on one of the videos about heating. I also have one of those Mr. Buddy, which is a propane heater that is a catalytic heater. So it doesn't have a flame. It has an oxidizing, and they're safe. They're made for indoors. Coleman made a tent heater. It's circular, feeds off of one of these green cylinders. Usually good for about 7 or 8 hours, depending on how cold it is. Okay, it's a catalytic heater. It doesn't have an open flame. These are things you want to think about. So this is just a quick touch on lighting. So that, lighting in the case of an emergency, lighting if you're at a bug out location, if you've gone camping, if the power goes out, you have means. And like I said at the beginning of this group, I'm all about being redundant, meaning I don't have just one. I have 2 or 3 of everything you see in front of you. And I do that because if I don't have one here, I have one somewhere else. So think about that. Redundancy is a safety thing. If you're caught on the road and you're going somewhere and you cannot make it home, you want to make sure whatever gear you're carrying in your car will last for whoever is coming with you. And so I have my gear that stays in my truck. That was the dump the bob gear. We looked at all of those. I've since tweaked that a little bit. Took out some things, moved some things around, added a new case. These lamps are the same thing. These type lamps, these propane, or not propane, but these gasoline driven lamps, you see 2 here. This one and the one over here on the corner, this green one. Now, this is an older Coleman. This is a Coleman 220, I believe. It says here 228 F as in Frank. That's the old ones. I find them at yard sales. I find them at, if you go to antique places, they're about 20 bucks a piece. I did a thing today where I put up what I called my Facebook Marketplace Treasures, the stuff that I just scanned through my local Facebook and found. Lamps for $20, $30. Now, this dual fuel lantern here, I found one, it was $75. People kind of gasp at it. Go out and try to buy this lamp right now. Go to Walmart, it's $99. So you can pick these things up, especially these older ones. And if you go to oldcolemanparts.com, and I'll put that link into the comment section as well, you can find the parts to rebuild this style of older Coleman lantern. And I've done that. I'm going to flip this around so you can see. This old style Coleman lantern. I've done that. My wife says I'm a lantern junkie. Underneath this table, and I'll put pictures up of it today, I'll attach this video, but underneath this table I built a case for the 7 other of this type of lantern that I have. And I picked them up for 10 or 20 or $30 at the most. Rebuilt the ones that needed to be rebuilt, put in new generators. There are YouTube videos that teach you how to do it. There's one lantern out there that is a Coleman that can be converted to kerosene, okay, but it's a specific kind and they're harder to come by. But like I say, this is lighting. just kind of the down and dirty of it all. If you have any questions, please shoot me a comment. I'm really hoping to get people to be a little more active. I'm grateful for everybody who's been part of the group, who types in and says, you know, they like what they see. That makes me feel like, okay, I'm not wasting my time. But it's not just me. Everybody out there has an experience, whether it's in gardening, whether it's in lighting, whether it's in shelter building. Like even in my garden, I made a trellis out of PVC pipe. If you can make furniture out of PVC pipe, I want to know about it, because these are the kinds of things. Skills that we have are valuable, especially in a time when people need more than they're accustomed. People today are accustomed to walking out to Walmart and buying whatever they want. Me, no, if I can build it, I do. You know, the shower that I use at camp, we actually use today to bathe the dogs. I built that. And that's just to say that, you know, it's a gift. Use it. Share it with us. I'm grateful for everybody for, like I say, being part of the group. Keep liking us. Tell your friends. You got people who are talking about, I want to know more, I want to be wiser about how to do this. Tell them about this site. Get them involved. I'm looking to maybe probably the end of the summer we'll do a giveaway. Haven't figured out exactly what we're giving away or what the rules are. I'm still thinking about it, but I'm looking to do that. But you know, talk to your family, talk to your friends, invite other people to the group. If you feel this has benefited you, it means it will benefit somebody else. So please feel free to do that. Like I say, lighting, if you have any questions, give me a holler. What I did not touch on is LED light, which is something I want to do later on down the pike. Think using like an LED rope light that is battery powered versus 110 powered. So once I get that put together and tested and worked, there'll be another project that I'll come up, we'll make a video about. Down the pike from now, just to think about it, think about library. Now, I'm not talking about the one you have the card, you go downtown, but your own personal library. How do you store your information? Do you use a disk? Do you use a jump drive? Do you have your texts? You know, your survival text, your gardening text, your building text, anything that's instructional. Do you only have it on the computer, or do you also have it in paper form? I'm going to show you how I've developed the library that I have and the things that are in it and the things I'm still looking for to put in it so that I have a solid source of information even if I don't have power. So, y'all have a good night. Look forward later on this week for the library presentation. And otherwise, have a great day.